Was Maruki right or wrong? Today we're going to be talking about one of the antagonists from Persona 5, known as Maruki. He was introduced in Persona 5 Royal as one of the possible social links that would help the characters with their mental health. As the player gets closer to the end, however, we see a different side of him, and that's the side we're going to be inspecting today on whether or not he was in the right or in the wrong. I'm going to be offering different perspectives on the matter for the purpose of being unbiased. However, there always tends to be a stronger argument. That, of course, doesn't always indicate of being correct, nor the weaker argument being wrong. It just tries to ascribe some sort of truth to a completely subjective matter. Gray areas always exist within everyone, including those who make you feel negatively or positively. Nothing can really grant you the truth, only what you can assign to the chaos of man. Here's the argument against Maruki. The idea of a perfect world may seem appealing at first, but in reality, it's nothing more than a hollow and empty world where nobody has any reason to do anything. In a perfect world, there's no room for society to improve or innovate. There's no room for evolution or progression. Nobody would have anything to strive for because they would already have everything, and humanity would lose its sense of purpose. Without some semblance of chaos or adversity to challenge it, the value of human life itself would lose all meaning and relevance. Now here's an argument for Maruki. What really scares me about Maruki's final fight is from the real-life perspective, and just how easy it is to succumb to his world, because everything he says and does is justified. In the game, we say it's wrong purely because we fought for the reality we got, and having it taken away from us goes against our principles and ideals, and saying humans should fight for their own happiness. But when we take it from Maruki's perspective, he lost his whole world at the slightest injustice. He was a promising scientist with a loving girlfriend and family, and it all got taken away from him like it never existed. It's the same with us in reality. How many of us would want that dream job? To see our loved ones again, to find a perfect partner, and to live happily. Now imagine somebody can give you all that with much more to make you happy with no effort or price to pay for it. With your back to the wall, working at a dead-end job, your friends are all gone and you live single and alone in your empty apartment dealing with constant depression. Can you honestly say with integrity in your heart that you would turn that down? I would now like to offer my own perspective on the matter, because when I was playing Persona 5 Royal for the first time, I was really conflicted on whether or not I should agree or disagree with Maruki. A piece of myself felt like I truly understood Maruki, and I wanted to agree with him, but when push came to shove, I disagreed. It still conflicts in my head to this day, and I'd like to fully get it on paper. I think that whether or not you would determine Maruki in being right or wrong is completely up to the individual. Now, there is really no objectivity when it comes to this, but it's still kind of an odd thing to talk about. Mainly because Maruki is trying to do the right thing, and you can tell that he's trying to do the right thing, and that his heart is in the right place, but when it comes to executing his plans, it starts to become less and less clear as to what his true motives really are. We saw from the flashbacks that he started to get slowly more and more corrupt as the injustices started to happen. We saw him shaping his worldview for the worse, and he even admits this. Yet we have to take into account that the situation and factors have happened to him to get to that point. I think agreeing with Maruki is not inherently a wrong thing at all. In fact, it's the most human thing you could possibly do. But we can't give one person, so much power over the entire world to have them shape it. With humanity, with that human error, it doesn't matter really who you are, there's always a chance you can become corrupt. And what it makes this so compelling and very conflicting is the fact that Maruki is a very, very nice person. But honestly, I think Maruki is definitely more in the wrong here. I can completely understand where he's coming from. I can understand his grief, his sorrow. I can understand it all. We have so much suffering and coldness in the world that you would almost want to delete it entirely. But if we did, would there still be meaning to that fictional world? Would we still be striving for something? Would we still be challenging ourselves to improve at anything? Would we still be able to suffer to maybe even the slightest extent? Would there even be a purpose in any of it? Sure, we can have a completely happy world. Nothing is ever going to harm us in any way. Our friends or family are going to be there in a happy, peaceful society. But at the same time, how happy is a world if it's completely and utterly artificial? Sure, you won't know that it's artificial, and sure, maybe there will be some sort of meaning in it. Would it be worth living in? Would it even be worth it to wake up? Would it even be worth it to go outside? Would it be worth it to do anything at all? The truth is that nobody could ever really know, because this is just a concept, and that's all it is. And I don't even think Maruki could answer any of those questions. He just wanted to execute this concept into his own personalized vision of what he thinks the world should be for everybody else. I don't know if everybody should live in a world where even the simplest of questions cannot be answered. Would it even be meaningful to even have another person assign the meaning for you? And we also have to remember the fact that this is not everybody's ideal reality, it's Maruki's ideal reality for everybody else. To have one person decide everything based off of what he perceives everyone should be, I can never fully agree with. I think Maruki is a terribly flawed but beautiful individual. His character completely and accurately represents the inner struggle of the human condition and trying to transcend our imperfect ways into an idealized world where we can see ourselves in the most clear of perspective. But ultimately, it comes down to the individual observer to decide really whether or not it would be the correct choice. Because after all, Maruki is undoubtedly a great character. I'd like to leave this video on a quote of Carl Jung. There is no coming to consciousness without pain. Thank you all for watching.